Hi, it's Mark from Mark of the Cyberbeast. Today, this episode, we'll be going over two things. First, how to replace your HEPA biohazard filter, and also combining an aftermarket and Cyberbeast Lightbar, if you can do it, and how to do it. Now, to start off with the episode, I gotta tell you, it's 100 degrees here in North Myrtle Beach. It is hot AF. I'll tell you, my poor battery is taking a beating from that overheat protection. There is no shade anywhere. So if you see little circles under my armpit, it's because it's hot here. Now, a couple things I want to talk about. The first thing is going to be the HEPA filter. Now, the HEPA filter should be replaced every 2 years. Now, this is a cabin filter. This is what filters your outside air when it goes through your AC into the vehicle. And so if you're go through an area and maybe there was a skunk, maybe they did some mosquito spraying like they did by me, and you don't want the chemicals in your vehicle. Maybe someone outside farted, I don't know, but you want to clean up that air. So that's what this filter does. Now, this is my front right here. And because I go to Costco a lot, I have my Costco bags. I also have my little wine bag. Don't you dare call it a wine satchel. Okay, so if I buy some wine at Costco, I can put it in there, 3 bottles, and it keeps it kind of protected. It's padded. So, one thing you can do, this whole plastic for this front, I call it a front bin, actually all comes out. What happens is you can pop open this top part right here, and then there's a couple bolts. There's on both sides, there's this little thing right here you pull out and turn counterclockwise, but you don't have to do any of that stuff. That's only if you want to take this whole thing apart and go underneath it. That's where your main battery connection is. In case you're doing any kind of work or service is doing any kind of work, they open this top portion up and they can unplug the power that goes to the battery in case they're working on any parts, which you should always do if you're working on anything electric with your Tesla. Now, I tell you this because we have an upcoming episode about underglow light and how to connect them. So that's the reason why I mentioned that. Now, with your cabin air filter, you do not need to take anything apart here except for one piece. Now, obviously we're gonna move some of this stuff out of the way here like this, okay? But this right here, this middle section that has Cybertruck written on it, pops out. So all you have to do is pop it open, just go right down the line. You're not gonna break anything. And this thing pops open right like this, okay? Now, what you can see back here is a bunch of stuff, and you can just move this over to the side. We're gonna put this down right here. At the very bottom is going to be right here where you've got clips. You push down, and this thing comes open, and you can visually inspect it, shake it out. But it kind of just looks like an air filter. I'm going to bend down a little bit more here. Kind of just looks like an air filter here. Nothing really different about it. But basically it just pops right in there. And then again, just when you want to put it back in there, you line it up, press it in, and then your clips go back up to the top. And that's how you replace your cabin air filter, but you only have to do that every 2 years. Most of you guys have barely had your truck a year. I've had my truck a little over a year. Looked pretty clean on visual inspection when I checked earlier. Just gave it a quick glance over just now. And, you know, no real need to replace it that much sooner unless you go through a lot of areas where there's distinct smells. Maybe you're in an area like, for instance, in Georgetown, South Carolina, there's a paper plant, has some real nasty smells. If you're in an area where you're using that biohazard a lot, you may want to replace it once a year. Those filters are $100 through Tesla. I know you can get third-party ones. I'm not sure, I think they're probably half the price, but I'm not sure of the quality, if they're any better or worse. So that's something we'll have to check out. Maybe we'll get one of our sponsors to send us one, kind of can compare the two and, you know, take it out and show you. But basically, if you could change an air filter in your ICE vehicle, you can change an air filter or your cabin filter with this. With the Model 3 of my wife's vehicle, you have to go in the passenger seat and basically you have to lie down, put your back on the ground, and it's up. It's kind of hard to explain. Let me see if I can do a visual with you. It's kind kind of underneath the dash. It's kind of underneath here. So you have to lie with your back onto the ground and reach up. And with my frame, it's just impossible for me to do, especially with, you need a screwdriver in there to loosen it up. And it's just really, really tight. So I just pay Tesla to do the service on it because I can't get myself underneath there to do it. It's just convoluted. Now, if you're a smaller guy, remember I'm 190, 5'9", I'm 5'8", 190. So it's a pretty stout frame. But you know, if you're a little lighter, you got some maybe more wiry, probably not a big deal. Easy to do. Now, I did promise I'd talk to you a little bit more about running dual light bars. Now, is there a need to run dual light bars? Well, you know how guys are, right? If one's good, two are better. And that's a lot of lights. And to be honest, with the how bright both these lights are, running both of them at the same time is going to be bright AF. But if you wanted to, I did go ahead and set this up. I didn't bolt it in, but I lined it up, got the rubber foot on there, and this is where it sits. It just literally, on the passenger side, I think it just touches the light bar, the Cyberbeast Lightbar, and on the driver's side, it's just a hair above it. And you can tap into the wire and run both. I'm not going to do that for you. I did the instructions for you on the light bar install. It taps in with the wire feed that comes in through the holder support here. And I'll just do a quick little, this is actually just touching the Cyberbeast light bar on this side. But yeah, you definitely can run the wire here. You have to take your Polar off if the wire got pulled behind. But theoretically, you can run both lights. I think it might look a little rednecky. The cool thing about the Cyberbeast light bar seems to be a little bit more streamlined. It's kind of more aerodynamic. The aftermarket one, if you got, for instance, an all-wheel drive model, since you didn't have access to the Cyberbeast lights, one thing you'll notice is you don't have that gap with that Cyberbeast light bar there, which that gap, I don't want to say it looked goofy, but I'm sure it wasn't as beautiful as the Cyberbeast bar, but also probably created some drag. This will also add some drag, but you're missing out that gap that I think looks goofy. So it doesn't look horrible, but it definitely looks like you're trying to compensate for darkness. Okay, we'll leave it at that. You're compensating for something, but that's a lot of lights. So if you already have, for instance, a Hansshow light bar like I got, and you got the Cyberbeast light bar, may not be a bad idea to run both if you have both of them. If you don't, I wouldn't go running out and spending $500 in the Hansshow light bar if you got that $2,000 Cyberbeast light bar that came with your Foundation series. For those of you out there who still have not gotten your light bars, you just have to keep putting service tickets in. It took me 11 months. After 11 months, I finally got to be able to bring it to service. The great folks at Raleigh were able to plug it in. Normally, they install it for you, and then you have to do the wire connection because legally they're not allowed to. They did it for me, so they connected everything. Awesome, good job for the guys at the Raleigh location. But anyway, I love the Cyberbeast light bar. I also like the Hansshow one. That was bright. Oh my God, was that bright. So, you know, some people ask, can you run both? The answer is yes. Am I gonna do it? No. I kind of don't want the extra drag, and I don't go off-roading. I don't really use the lights all that much. I use this thing one time to get out of a concert and get people out of my effing way. That was the only time I used it. So I'm good with that. That's today's episode on the Biohazard cabin air filter and your aftermarket and Cyberbeast Foundation series light bar, running them simultaneously. Hope you got some good information today. We've got some great episodes this week. Next week, I'm heading down to Florida. I might not be able to drop an episode on Monday, just a heads up. I'll be down in Florida, and it's I got an 11-hour drive on Sunday, and then on Monday I have another, I think, 4 or 5 hour drive. So I'll be busy FSDing, but I am doing video on the GoPro, the FSD drive, all 11 hours when I do the first stint into Palm Bay, Florida is where my destination is. And It's gonna be 11 hours. I think it's like 3 or 4 supercharger stops, and we're gonna do the whole ride. So if you want to see how it does on the highways from South Carolina to Florida, you have a lot to see. Folks, thanks so much for joining me on this hot 100-degree day today in South Carolina. As always, what I want you to do is do what you do. Like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you again tomorrow.